What's up, everybody? How are you doing? Thanks, DS Bondo and HVAC. It's a bummer, but they have to win one eventually. Cause Connect, baby. It's a new era for German soccer now. New coach, so excited for the World Cup. Can't win them all. Goldberg, glad you made some money, man. What's up, Sunjuice? What's up, Kyle? Neon? How's everyone doing? How you guys feeling? Bullish? Bearish? Anyone in positions here? Anyone making some money? What's up, Michael? Germany with Flick is going to be scary. I hope so, man. Hansi is pretty dope, and Germany has a lot of young talent. I just think our tactics were getting kind of crappy. They were getting kind of old, and yeah, it happens. It happens. I am optimistic about the World Cup, so we will see. And it's kind of nice because the World Cup is only like 17 months away instead of 2 years, about a year and a half, because things got delayed a bit with the Euros. So get rid of Sane. I disagree. Germany and soccer sucks. You mean Fußball? Who do I think will win? I don't know. I don't think we need to get rid of Sane. I think we were using Sane incorrectly. Yeah. Hansi knows what he's doing. I'm excited to see him in Germany. All right. Gave people a couple minutes to get in, so let's get started. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all making some money. Last week, I was tweeting about how I'm longing this region. I got completely filled. I had bids down to 30.5. I think my average was around 31.1 average entry. And we just hit our first TP at 35.7. So a really, really nice swing from this range low. We've gone up about 17%. This is the high time frame range that we're working with still. We're approaching the mid-range. We had a nice sweep of these lows on this move, breakout, retest the range low, and now we're cruising. So we've been bullish this whole time. If you have been tuning into the streams, I hope you've been making some money. I mean, if you agree with my thoughts in previous streams and have been trading similarly, then it would be tough to not make money. So quick recap, I guess, from streams. We longed here, shorted here, longed here, stopped out of that one, and then longed here. So those have been the last 4 trades. We've caught really big swings on 3 of them. So it's trading has been going very well. But, I mean, you guys know it. CT gets all scared down here. Now people are starting to get euphoric, very bullish, longing resistance. So let's talk. Let's talk about what we're looking for going forward. So we have seen a really nice move off the lows, probably from wick to wick, probably 20%, 21.5. And more or less, it's been straight up. We've had some nice consolidation here as well as consolidation here. But other than that, we've been pretty much going straight up. You guys know I like Monday's range, and also we've been looking at these untapped highs, that liquidity there. So we've been wanting to see those stops get taken, and as you can see, we've taken all the highs. We're consolidating here a little bit. We did sweep this high, so it kind of looks like we stopped out longs, stopped out early shorts. So I am looking for downside here. I think I've taken 20% off of my Bitcoin long and 20% off of my Ethereum long, just to give me a little bit of peace of mind. But because the entry is so good, and I do plan to hold it to the other side of the range at 42K, I wanted to take a little bit off. And if we lose Monday's high here, last week's, then I'll enter a short to hedge out some of my long and look to close it around here. And from there, I expect us to push higher. So I just think we get a little bit of a correction, maybe a down day tomorrow. And from there, we will go forward and look to compound. So I know Monday's low for this week is right around here. So if this does break down here, I think you can look for a nice little day trade short down to this week's Monday's low, the mid-range, and also fill in some of the gap from this candle. It's not like it would be a huge move that you'd be targeting there, but let's say we top out here, stop at the high, it's still a nice 2.4 hour trade. So I would look to take that as a short on a different account and not close my long. But if I catch a short, then I'm not just losing all of that unrealized P&L because I have a short open to take advantage of that. And if that happens, I close the short here, look to compound my long, and then we play it back up. So we talked about this in the last stream, but I think sometimes it helps a lot to open a short instead of fully closing your long as a way to hedge against potential downside. And I went pretty in depth on that last stream. So if you want to dig into that a little more deeply and hear more of my thoughts about that, you can do so. It's just the stream from the last live stream I had from, I think, like 5 days ago, because it was Thursday of last week. But yeah, we've taken out these highs. This is where I kind of get cautious. This isn't where I get bullish and open any new longs. Definitely in this region, you don't want to open any new longs. If you were longing during this consolidation, I think this is around where you would want to take some profit. But main scenario, like I said, is if we lose this level, we look for something like this. Mid 33 or 34. I don't know if it's going to for sure take out that low. Maybe it just goes into this consolidation and then bounces from there. So I would probably monitor the PA pretty closely if this starts playing out, and then honestly the short might be short-lived. It might just come back into this mid 34 and then push up from there. So those are the kind of things that it's like impossible to predict in advance, but the goal for these streams is to point out some of the scenarios we're looking for, how I would want to play them. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Not try and predict every single move. So we'll see. I would say that is the main thing I'm watching for Bitcoin. If we do break back above here, then, I mean, not necessarily like that, but if this does pump again and then start consolidating above the mid-range, I would probably look for a new range to develop and then like take out the low, something like that, to compound my long. But for right now, I'm kind of thinking more downside, or sorry, not more downside. I'm kind of thinking we get some downside. I'm not confident enough in that to short, like right here, but it's something I'm looking out for. I think this is not an area to enter new longs. I think I'll leave it at that. I think that's the main idea. So if we can get above, let's say 37K, I will look to compound in a different way. Like I said, if a range develops up there, take out the low and then push up, whatever. If we get above 37K, that's what I'm looking for. If we break below 36-ish, 35.8, then I'll be looking for a day trade short down to ideally mid 33. But from there, we'll be looking for upside. So if we get a nice like SFP or whatever of this low and then break back above it, that would be my trigger to add to my long and close the short. All right. So those are kind of the main plans. I guess I can leave that one on there. I do have another Bitcoin chart I want to look over, but I think this one is pretty clean with the higher time frame levels. So still bullish, high time frame. Target is still 42K-ish. And the goal is to hold the swings from 31, TP at 42. And if you nail a couple of those moves, that can really make your quarter. Okay. Let me see what the other... We also have the monthly open here. I forgot to have that on this chart, but that's right around the mid-range, so that is some nice confluence as well. On this chart, I'm going to delete last week's Monday's mid-range, pull up this week. Sorry, range, not just mid-range. It was a pretty tight range. There we go. Wait. Yeah, today's Tuesday. We're good. Wanted to make sure it wasn't Wednesday. For some reason, I thought it was Wednesday. Okay. What's up, Wreck Proof? Low skates. My EQ is not in the middle. I disagree, I think. Looks like the middle to me. 0.5. Let's see. Midweek blood, what do I mean by compound? Satoshi Scalper kind of answered that. Okay. Back to this chart. Basically, take out that low and push up from there. That's kind of the scenario I drew down here around this mid-range. But I just wanted to have Monday's range on there as well. So that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. When looking back, it's also obvious. Yeah, pretty much. Luana Costa, come to Rome. We can get gelato. And you give me some trading tips because to me you're the best. I appreciate that. I would love to go to Rome again. The EQ is just the middle. Oh, music. Good call. Give me just a sec. There we go. Fixed it. Is that a good volume? Well, it's like in the middle of the song right when I say that, so. All right, let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum is in a pretty similar spot. I tweeted yesterday, I think, when we broke above this black SR level, that as long as we hold above 2050, I expect more upside. I think that was somewhere around here. We had a retest of last week's Monday's mid-range to the literal tick and then pushed up from there. Ethereum hasn't quite taken out this liquidity that Bitcoin has. You can see this high was taken out by Bitcoin, but not yet by Ethereum. And also Monday's high is also not tapped quite yet. So I would not want to short Ethereum as much as I would want to short Bitcoin if this scenario plays out, this one, where it goes back below Monday's high, just because the setup isn't quite as clear. We drew this a while ago, but basically would have wanted to see it take out those highs before considering a short. So for now, we're going to sit out with the possible Ethereum short. Just not too interested in that yet. If this plays out though, where this goes up for another leg and then breaks down below like 2260, then that changes. But for right now, I am not doing anything with Ethereum. I did enter some Ethereum when I entered Bitcoin, so in this range, the setup wasn't quite as clear to me on Ethereum, but just because of my bullishness on Bitcoin, with ETH BTC on support, I wanted to get some Ethereum exposure as well. But the reason I didn't tweet about that one as much, or like tweet the setup, was just because it was a lot more clear on Bitcoin. So all right. Paul asks if I think Bitcoin will be at 100K by the end of the year. Anything I say would just be a guess. We have a long way to go. Let's take it one step at a time. A Peng Rayhan is pretty hyped about DOT, it looks like. When you are swing trading versus scalping, how do you set your stop loss? So it's pretty much the same. I'll just set it at my invalidation level of whatever that specific trade is. Like this could be a 5-minute chart, and I would trade it exactly the same as if it was an hourly chart. So yeah, stop loss. I just do my best to put my stop loss at my invalidation, and that's pretty much all I got in terms of stop loss placement. For compounding Ethereum longs, I am probably going to try and time it up with Bitcoin as well. Let me look at Monday's range on Ethereum. It's kind of a funky one. I mean, ideally, the ideal compound would be if we come down to this region. And if Bitcoin, man, it'd be tough. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's where I would want to get long. Maybe we can find a setup around here. Like if we take out this low right there and then hold above this SR level, then we could look to compound Ethereum. But I think the best, highest risk reward spot would be this like 1960 to 1890 range. Not extremely confident we get that, but that'd be it. How'd you manage your spot holdings over the last couple of weeks since that breakdown in May? So I've been trading my spot at the range extremes, kind of like some of the swing trades I've taken. I did buy some spot early, like 30, where was it? I think it was like 38, something like that. I was buying spot a bit early around here. Also some more further down, but didn't do a ton with spot earlier. However, here, when I took profit on those longs from 31, I did sell spot. Not like all my spot. I don't really like to talk about trading spot on Twitter because people just think like, oh, you sold all your Bitcoin. And it's like, no, I have separate spot holdings that I trade versus hold long term. So some of my spot that I trade with, I sold in this area and then bought back at 30K. But I didn't really mess with it here. What I did buy at 39, 38, I also sold here, just because we were getting towards the top of this range. It was close enough for me. We had this sweep, and I was like, okay, I think we'll get a chance to buy this back lower. I did not foresee this wick to 29, 28K, whatever. So I'm definitely not going to try and say I called that. But I did sell some spot here and bought back some here and then on the retest there. So I guess I've pretty much managed my spot in the same way I have managed my swing trades. Oh yeah, thanks the Spaniardo. We were talking about football at the beginning of the stream, so I forgot to do the usual bit. But if you guys are regulars here, you know Bybit is the reason that I can do these live streams on a nice scheduled basis for you all twice a week. If you appreciate them, maybe if you've made some money or they've helped you learn and grow as a trader, you can consider using the Bybit link in the description. It'll help me out, and also it'll let Bybit know that these streams are worth continuing. So thank you. Well, okay, so the reason I have these two FTX charts and then the two Bybit charts is because I'm lazy and I don't want to use more layouts. And so like I have a Bitcoin chart on the Bybit one, on the FTX one. I also have the BitMEX chart that I have laid out differently, and the Coinbase one. So it's pretty much, I just don't want to use different layouts. So I have like 4 different Bitcoin charts in here. But when I enter trades on Bybit, I'll make sure I'm looking at my Bybit Bitcoin chart, Bybit Ethereum chart, or whatnot. I still trade some altcoins on FTX, like ones that Bybit doesn't offer, like FTT or Sol, things like that. But yeah, I hope that answers the question. What's my number one indicator? I don't really use any indicators. I just use price action. I can look at DOT in a little bit. How did I choose the high and low of this range? So for this one, it was basically the first high we made after this bounce, and then this low right here, because this wick was different on every exchange, and so I didn't really like the idea of using that as the range low. I thought it made more sense using this one because that was more consistent across exchanges, and I felt the mid-range and other levels lined up very well and were respected well with this range. So what leverage everybody usually uses here? Goldbird, I would recommend you check out my risk management video on my YouTube channel, because that kind of talks about why leverage is more or less irrelevant, and it's just all about Bitcoin. I mean, what? I was reading something. It's all about position size, not leverage. Gosh, I don't know where my mind is right now. But yeah, if you have questions about leverage, I think my risk management video would answer quite a bit of that. And yes, that is some pretty big news. Bybit did just add some more USDT perpetual contracts. There are 6 new pairs: BNB, Sol, Matic, Phil, EOS, and Ethereum Classic. So as they add more pairs, I will probably start trading more alts there as well. I don't use footprint charts. I think I already answered that. Do I hold any alts or just BTC slash ETH? I hold FTT. I hold Sol. I hold some Aave. Those are the main ones. What do I think about Cope? I think it's hard to glean too much from the chart. I was wrong about us bouncing around here. But from a fundamental perspective, like, I don't think it's going to be a horrible long-term hold. It just kind of got absolutely crushed from the current market conditions. But I don't want to necessarily bet against Siri. I don't have a Discord, and I don't teach lessons. I just do these free streams, and that's pretty much it. How would you confirm a macro break either up or down out of this range? I think the 4-hour chart would be fine. To the downside, this would actually have to break down, like start closing some candles here and like spending time outside of the range. Like here, quick wick. This was 2 candles, but also relatively quick. And the same thing goes for the other side. Like, we would have to break out and actually like spend a few days, close some daily candles, just like spend time above the range, and then I would be more convinced that it's a breakout. But any of these wicks and like what I kind of think we would see to the upside would be like a wick like that. For as long as we keep getting that, I just expect continued ranging. Thanks to Spaniardo. Appreciate you dropping that link. And DS Bondo. If you guys could like the video, that would be awesome. I watched it but didn't quite understand position sizing. Probably need to watch it again and test it for myself. That is a good call, and I can, if it still doesn't make sense, I think Cred wrote a good article on position sizing. We'll try and pull it up. Yeah. So if you still don't understand it after watching my risk management video again, I think Cred's article could provide another perspective. No, I don't really use Glassnode or anything like that. Is there any reasons to use Bybit? Well, there are a few different reasons. I think a lot of different exchanges have different pros and cons. Like, a pro for FTX is that they have a ton of alts to trade. A con for FTX is that it feels like you can never get filled on a limit order, and if you do, you're wrong. Like, weird stuff happens in the books when I have limit orders waiting, and sometimes they'll just get front ran by a couple dollars and then it'll reverse. Like, if I'm trading on FTX, I almost always have to mark it in. I don't know why it is. I think it could be because Sam is the market maker for that exchange. But that's a little bit sketchy, I guess. Some pros with Bybit is that I think I do like trading a coin margin future account, basically where I hold my account in Bitcoin or Ethereum and just compound my coins that I'm holding. For instance, when I'm trading Bitcoin on Bybit, I'm just like stacking more Bitcoin. I also just think their order execution is quicker. I've experienced less slippage on Bybit using the same position sizing, and I've never had problems with limit orders. So those are the main things. All right, I will start looking at some alts again in the stream. What's up, Spaceman BTC? Spaceman has some cool indicators if you guys want to check him out. I have played around a little bit with the market profile one. I think I have a layout for it. It might be my daily levels. Here it is. I think I still need to mess with the settings a little bit, but I have looked at it a bit. And I do think it is pretty convenient. So shout out to Spaceman for some of these indicators. So let me look at DOT. because I think a Peng Rayhan will keep asking about DOT until I do. I'm just going to completely clear this. I do think this is a good level. Mark up a couple charts. No problem, Spaceman. Keep up the good work. So, I am bullish high time frame on DOT when it gets back above 26. This is the consolidation that we lost and have rejected from like 3 times. So, I am high time frame bullish on DOT if it can get back above here. That doesn't mean I can't be like bullish near term, because like obviously it could go on a nice move, and 16 to 26 is like a pretty substantial move. But I'm just saying, like, from a hold it and forget about it perspective, I would probably prefer to buy into strength above here. And then I guess the better way of saying it is above 26. I think the likelihood of DOT going up is higher. So that's when I would be more interested, but that doesn't mean you can't look for some longs down here. So from the daily time frame, we did sweep this low, retested it, and it held, which is good to see. And now it looks like it is trying to break out, but we've swept this high. So I guess what I would be looking for on DOT is either an actual breakout above 17-ish, or let's see. Yeah, that's probably the best way to play it, actually. I mean, or you could just look to buy a pullback and then long it, and I would probably say invalidation is at this like 13.5 low. If the market does take a decent sized pullback, then I think sweeping this low, Monday's low, is another scenario I'd look at. So that's DOT for you. Do I agree that 95% of people should DCA into crypto and not trade? Or can everyone potentially become profitable traders? I do think that the vast majority should just DCA. Not because I don't think that they can become a trader, but the majority of people don't have the time. I think people are, like, if you're working a full-time job, it probably takes, like, it would take quite a bit of time to become a profitable trader. I was lucky because I got into trading when I was in university, and so I just had a ton of free time. And I kind of spent more time on trading stuff than like my actual schoolwork. So I was able to treat trading as a job for multiple years before I actually needed it as an income because I was in school. So, but I don't think everyone like gets in at a lucky time like that, basically. Not lucky time, but just like a convenient time of my life. Like if I was 35 years old when I got into trading instead of 18 or 19, and if I had like 2 kids and a full-time job instead of just being like an 18-year-old kid in school, it would have been a lot harder. So, what is a good entry price to DCA? The idea of dollar cost averaging is that you don't need to figure out the best entry price. Just set aside like 5%, 10%, whatever of every paycheck and buy. You're not going to be able to time it. And then don't sell. If you're dollar cost averaging, you don't sell. I mean, you probably take profit if we rip to like 100K on some of it. You can dollar cost average out once we're pumping again. But when you want to dollar cost average into an investment, set aside however much a month and just buy it. Don't overthink it. And that's how you average in. Sol. So a lot of coins have the same like lower time frame structure right now, where we're kind of retesting Monday's high. We're kind of waiting to see if we break below it. From a high time frame perspective, Sol looks pretty money. We had like a nice triple tap of this low, which is pretty good. But similar to DOT. Let's see. I would say Sol is kind of at resistance like right now. I don't know how to draw this exact level. Maybe like right here. Oops. Yeah, I kind of like that. So you can see support here, 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 and then immediate retest and massive rejection. So we know this is a really key level, like $35. So if I'm looking to day trade Sol, I'm looking to play around that level. I don't want to enter a trade right now, like for time of day reasons and things like that. But I do think if we get like a breakout above this level and retest it, that's a nice long for Sol. Otherwise, same as other things, look for entries if we take out Monday's lows across the board. Luckily, market's open 24/7. Blessing and a curse absolutely is. I'm in the same exact position now as you, still in school with lots of time. Yeah, man, that was the dream. I mean, it worked out perfectly, so take advantage of that. I was able to basically just learn without having the pressure of making a living from it for like 2 years. And now fast forward 4 years. And things are good. It was worth focusing on that more than my actual schoolwork. So, although I still did get good grades. I don't know. How did you handle your drawdowns? Like, for example, 100 to 25K is 80%. Yeah. Drawdowns can be tough. I think setting rules around like how much, like risk limits basically, that can be tough, or that can be helpful. Like if you say, okay, if I lose 5%, like I take a step back, I take a couple days off or whatever. I think that can help you from emotionally trading and then compounding your drawdown. But if you have a big drawdown, adjust your risk. Your risk, like 1% of 100K is $1,000. But if you lose a bunch of money down to 25K, you should now be risking $250 a trade, or $250 would be 1%. So don't keep your same risk, and work slow, build it back up. Yeah, DCA is definitely a long-term strategy. Thanks for the Sol chart. No problem, man. Could I look at FTT? Yeah. So I like this level 43 on FTT. I know that's obviously far away. I kind of like FTT's chances of being bottomed here or going down for another leg. Like this region in general. I mean, even if we don't look at it on log. Right, like this is major support. This area was major support, but we lost that. And I guess I would say like $15 or something like that would be the next support. But if we can hold this, I think we have a good chance of a continued push. I do hold spot FTT. So we took out that low into demand right here. And now I would want to see us get above this level. So I'm more bullish on FTT if we can flip above like 28, 29, give or take. Let me clear some of this. High time frame, I'm super bullish once we get back above 44, because then we've kind of flipped that major resistance. But yeah, from a lower time frame perspective, I think getting above this 29, I guess that's like more medium time frame because we're looking at a relatively zoomed out 4-hour chart. But I'd be interested in some like FTT swings or whatever up to 37 if we can flip that level. How many trades a day should I take as a newer trader? It kind of just depends on your strategy. If you want to be a swing trader, you probably won't be even taking a trade a day. It might be like 1 or 2 a week. If you're a scalper, then a lot more, but like it kind of just depends on your style. There's no one good answer for that. Cause stands for king of. Cause is a nickname that some of my friends in like high school used to call me. So how do you use funding in your trading? Well, I think you should study it for a while, see how it works for Confluence, see how the market reacts when funding is really high or really low, and then you can start implementing it in that way. You can start kind of noticing what is a normal funding rate, what is extreme in either direction, things like that. I think you just need to monitor it, pay attention, take some notes and things like that, write down your findings. Do I consider news to weigh off my trades or even upcoming events? Sometimes, not much, and it kind of depends on what it is. Like for instance, wow, those are some clean equal lows. Yeah, it kind of just depends on the news, but most of the time, like if it's something really major, then I might. Like if we know a day where an ETF is gonna launch or whatever, then it's like, could be more of a sell the news event, things like that. But for 99% of the time, I do my best to not let news impact my trading at all. So, because most of the time, if I'm like bullish and take a trade and then some news comes out that makes me think we might pull back and I close the trade, that trade usually ends up working out. Do I also scalp based on these streams? Seems like mostly longer term trades. I'm not usually doing any like super short term stuff. Most of the trades I talk about on streams are like multi-day trades where you hold for like a few days. I mean, for instance, we longed here. It's been 3 days and I'm still in that. But it's like I don't have a lot of really low time frame stuff that's worth talking about in the streams because I just don't update it enough. Like if this is probably borderline, this is probably like the shortest time frame type of setup that I would talk about in a stream. Like if we lose that level and break down, that would probably be like an intraday, maybe like a 6 to 8 hour trade, something like that. It could be longer, could be more, but for the most part, I only talk about higher time frame stuff in the streams because that's all we have time to like update on. Unless I was like streaming. I feel like for scalping, you kind of need to stream while you scalp. And I just don't scalp much. Do I trade other markets? Not right now. I have in the past, but no market is offering the same kind of volatility as Bitcoin is right now, so. On-ramp for Bybit? What do you mean? All right, I said I would look at Link. So Link kind of left some equal lows down here, but it's ahead of some other alts in the sense that it's broken out of this like consolidation, and it's above it now. Like we've been talking about with, I mean, I would say this is probably a pretty nice SR flip. It goes back to here. So you could, this looks good. It looks okay. It looks better than some other alts, but I probably wouldn't want to long it right here. I don't know. I'm just cautious with longs right now in general because everything has pumped quite a bit. So I want to see how we react. Like this is up 30% off the lows in 3 days. So it's like, yes, we did just flip this level, but I'm not sure if I want to FOMO in after pumping 30% off the lows. I'd rather see like a day of consolidation to get some more price action or a bit of a pullback. So once again, Monday's low is right here with this low liquidity candle. So something like that I think would be a nice long opportunity for Link. Any plans for the summer? I've been going to a lot of weddings, and I still have like 4 more to go to. And I was in Hawaii for like 3 weeks, 2.5. So that was one of the main summer plans. Probably go on some smaller trips, but not too much else planned. Mostly those weddings, to be honest. Yeah, I can look at Luna quick, but I can't promise to have much insightful. Yeah, I don't really love this. I mean, you bought at 4.1, so like phenomenal entry. But from a technical perspective, this kind of looks like trash. I don't really know what the fundamentals of this project are, but hey, just play the range, I would say. Probably something like this. You can trade any coin that has volatility, but when I have so many options and Bitcoin and Ethereum look so much more clear to me, I don't want to trade any of this type of price action. I just don't think it's worth the time. But with that being said, you nailed your entry. You're up like 50%, so nice work. But I don't have too much of an opinion on it. I'm 23. 23 years old. I did want to look at this. So ETH BTC is getting a nice little pump, but we're right at daily supply now. We kind of took out this low, but just barely, and it's right next to weekly SR. So if we can break above this, then I think we have a longer term rally up to like 0.07. But if we reject here, then I'd probably look for the test of this weekly SR. In this environment, charting anything else would ultimately depend on BTC health, right? Like even with a nice SR flip on something like Link on like, yeah, exactly. Like during the bull run, I mean, we could, I guess, still be in a bull run or whatever. But this whole time where Bitcoin just consolidated, altcoins were given so many opportunities. They were pumping left and right, and the price action looked a lot different. But right now, it's kind of like everything looks the same, you know? So, and any dip from Bitcoin has kind of been crushing alts. So while Link does look better than some other alts from a low time frame perspective, if this scenario plays out, then Link is probably going for high 17s. So that's why I'm kind of not rushing into anything. I'm in my Bitcoin long. I'm waiting to see if we get this short trigger for like a day trade. But other than that, I'm kind of just staying patient. Patience is the name of the game. Any certain time frames you take your entry / profits? It just depends on the trade. Like if I'm entering a day trade, then I'll take my profit accordingly. If it's a swing trade, then it's obviously a higher time frame, and I'll take my profit accordingly with that. So yeah, exactly. RR. Yeah, I can look at ADA. This will be my last alt that I look at, I think. Wow, that's an old level. It was super clean, not quite as clean anymore. Now I kind of think like this. Well, let's zoom in a little. If I was in a ADA long, I would probably close it right now. We just swept this high. Can't really break above it. I wonder where the monthly open is. Oh, way up there. And we have these equal lows down here. But once again, like if Bitcoin's going up, it's obviously not just going to take out these lows and then reverse. So I guess I would pretty much look for the same thing. Monday's low is probably somewhere around here. Fill in that gap and then look for it to push up from there. But for right now, I don't want to be long right here after sweeping that high. So, hey Mark. Yeah, the game was a bummer, but things are looking bright for the World Cup. We got a lot of young talent, and I'm excited for Hansi to be the new coach. Is 4th July a pivot point? I have no idea. I just trade the chart, man. Yeah, if you were long ADA earlier and took profit here, you caught a nice move. So, oh, you mean times, like times of day. I don't really like to enter trades around the Asian session, not because there's that meme about it always dropping, but because I like to let the first few hours of the daily candle play out. In the exact same way that I like to see Mondays play out, because it kind of gives me direction for the rest of the week with Monday's range. I like to see the first few hours of the day play out because it kind of gives me direction for the rest of the day. So like, if early in the day we pump and get rejected, I'd be like, okay, it kind of looks like we put the high of the day in early. If right at the beginning of the day it dips hard but then gets bought up pretty quick, I'd be like, all right, that might just be our SR flip right here, and now we push up. But I like to be a little patient when we get a new daily candle, which will be in 2 hours, I think. Yeah. So, all right, guys, I think that's going to do it for this video. If you caught some longs with me, congratulations. Don't forget to just make sure you don't hold it back all the way down to break even. Either take a little profit or have a plan in place to like short hedge. I think this is probably, if you take away one thing from the stream, I would say this is probably the main near-term scenario I'm looking for. And then that would lead into a possible long compound around the mid-33s. So those are kind of the two things I'm looking for heading into the rest of the week. But my high time frame bias is the same, and I'm targeting 42K still. I will obviously let you guys know if anything like that changes, but I don't think it will. So appreciate all of you tuning in. Once again, shout out to Bybit for sponsoring the streams. If you guys have any questions about the exchange or anything like that, feel free to DM me and I'd be happy to help. And if you want to check them out, you can do so with the link in the description. So, yeah. Thanks to you guys for being here. I will have some more energy on Thursday when the loss is not so fresh. All right, guys. Have a good rest of your day or night or morning, and we'll talk soon.